Signs of female infidelity that she can never hide, no matter how much she tries. Hello guys, I'm happy to welcome everyone to our channel. Today we will explore different infidelity signs that a woman can't hide at all and that she cannot even control. I'll start with the easier signs and work my way up to the hardest, so stay tuned until the end. I'm sure you will be surprised. The first sign is sudden weight loss in your woman. She may have dropped weight because she actually started going to the gym and went on a diet because she wanted to be beautiful for her lover. But there's a further explanation why she might have lost weight, and that because of sex. She began engaging in it. Someone can afford to engage in it with a lover daily or multiple times a week and forget stories about physical activity. Sex with a lover is a different story. She tries there, dreams, and gives it all. Wet beds or wet clothes, so she'll lose weight because of it. Pay close attention to this. We look at a woman who, let's assume, used to be obese, but suddenly she lost weight and became beautiful, and women whispered to each other. Sex manifested in her life. The next sign is all sorts of scratches, bruises, and hickeys on your woman's body. A friend shared a story. A woman who had returned from a business trip had the palm-sized hickey on her thigh. All 5 fingers left an apparent scar. Pay attention to this. Of course, more frequently, enticing intimate parts get affected. The thighs, breasts, and neck. Whether you want it or not, you might leave marks in a moment of passion. Understand that sex with a lover is different from sex at home. People cannot always prevent themselves there. More often than not, women might leave more scratches on the lover's back. But a man with just slightly grown nails may also leave marks. He bit into her and her buttocks. Pay close attention to this. Furthermore, they may have sex whenever it's possible, such as on the table at work, in a utility room, or even in the washroom. Being in uncomfortable positions might lead to bruises on your woman's body in very unclear forms in absolutely unexpected areas. She cannot explain such bruises, like when she somehow bashed into something and got that bruise on her thigh. Those particular bruises, like on the inner part of the thigh, she hardly could have developed from an accidental hit. Now let's move on to more exciting signs of infidelity. It's a change in a woman's sexual behavior. Her denial of having sex with you is too cliché and boring for us. If your woman gets highly active and creative, showing desires, that's something to think about. Let's assume your sex life was boring, and once she found a lover, she brought all sorts of creativity, which indicates her lover is teaching her, and then she's teaching you. Sometimes, particularly at the beginning, when she's obsessed with her lover, she thinks about him constantly, and she's usually even more stimulated when she's at home with you. Now let me tell you a story from my friend who has a lover. She claims that she's typically been in an excited condition for a long time. She gets the opportunity to meet him at least twice a week, and all the rest of the time she was in a kind of euphoria. She thinks about him non-stop. She daydreams. The sex is crazy and insane. She's been with her husband for many years, and the sex was insignificant and boring. As they say, you can keep your t-shirt on. She says, I retire to bed because my husband is already sleeping, and I fantasize there. When I wake up, I fantasize again. The husband goes by, and indeed he simply happens to be present. She says, I just crave it now. I desire sex. The husband considers all this to be his achievement, and he was so amazing. But men, how can you consider it an achievement if she doesn't spend time with you? If there's totally no contact between you? If she's completely changed and continuously breaking out of the house? It's a reason to think about. Why did she abruptly become extremely passionate and so sexual in nature? So I advise you to pay close attention to such situations in terms of changes in your woman's sexual behavior. Following that sign, it's very challenging. Let's get serious, men. Another story from a friend. He said that when he begins having sex with her, he obviously notices that she has had sex with somebody else lately. What's the point? He explains that her vagina hasn't had time to tighten up. It's expanded in length and widened. The vagina is actually a muscular bag that, of course, can retract after intimacy, but it takes a while for it to happen. So when a man penetrates her, my friend says, it's like he penetrated a bucket or something. This also includes an enlarged clitoris and swelling labia, which are filled with blood during sexual stimulation. Blood flows to the pelvic parts, making the lips and clitoris expand, and on top of that, it's the vagina, which has not had time to contract yet. The next sign is linked with changes in a woman's microflora. In a woman's vaginal microflora, yeast infections can develop. She begins to sleep with a new man, and he introduces his microflora. A reaction happens. It's unavoidable. Changes in the microflora contribute to yeast infections, cottage cheese-like white discharge, and itching discomfort. There might be a change in microflora because of condom use, as well as an allergic reaction, but most commonly it emerges as a change in flora. It's cystitis, which means she starts sleeping with a new partner, and cystitis develops. Additionally, her flora changes, and cystitis may also develop because during sexual activities, he conducts cunnilingus and transmits infection that way. So if your woman is healthy and has never had this issue before, and suddenly it emerges against the background of other indicators of some changes, then there is a reason to be concerned. A change in your woman's intimate smell is another important sign. Many men are highly sensitive to this since they're used to the scent of their women. I'm not saying she smells from far away, but she starts sleeping with a new man, and perhaps she doesn't have yeast infections and no discharge, but the odor itself changes due to the flora changes. Additionally, she's used to you. She stayed with you for many years, for quite a while, and she had a different flora. Thus there was a smell. Most men are highly sensitive, and they notice this first. And I would like to emphasize that this is an important, subtle hint that your woman could be sleeping with another man. Now, let's proceed to signs that she certainly won't be able to hide. They're even more irritating than previous ones. Here I include venereal infections. I have no idea how a woman could possibly hide this. Of course, she might put herself in isolation, saying, "I won't have sex, I don't want to at this period." She can receive treatments, but it's rare to hide them. And men who are not on business trips but live with their wives, most of them talk about experiencing just an awful smell. You sleep with her in the same bed, just move the blanket slightly, and there's this smell. All of this is accompanied by discharge, irritation, and so on. And beyond that, of course, you'll realize right away that there are some suppositories. The woman isolates herself there in the restrooms, somewhere else because she is required to perform procedures, and she also goes to medical professionals. Well, and God forbid, of course, she can infect you. So if this has already occurred, then 100% of the time bear in mind that she didn't wash herself in the bathroom and didn't clean herself with that towel after all. The next sign smoothly transitions from the previous one. A woman begins seeing gynecologists, possibly numerous physicians, on a regular basis. You know, for a healthy woman's preventive care, it's required to visit a gynecologist every 6 months. That's enough. If your woman was once healthy and you haven't seen her do this before, and suddenly she's begun running to doctors, and they're giving her an enormous amount of medicine, then it's important to pay attention, asking yourself, where is she continuously going? Where is she making appointments? What type of medicine is she taking? Again, I'll say that many men don't even know which medications their woman is taking, or what suppositories she's using. My friend told me that typically there are suppositories in his fridge, plenty of them, and some pills. And she told him she's got some type of dysbiosis or whatever, so he was put on a sex moratorium. And then it dawned on him. He went to look for his own medicines, unintentionally took her suppositories, and began reading, and there was a complete bouquet that she was actually taking to cure herself. That's how he caught her. So pay attention to what she's purchasing there and what she's stocking up on, and ask her, why did you suddenly start visiting women's doctors? Why does a woman go to gynecologists and medical professionals? The first major one is yeast infection and vaginosis. Your woman doesn't need to cheat for changes in her microflora to occur. If your woman doesn't have any other sign of cheating, never dwell on it. In reality, she may have gotten a cold. She could have been taking antibiotics or antiviral medicines that work systemically on the body, and may also cause yeast-related infections and changes in microflora. Maybe it could be because she changed her intimate hygiene items. That also happens. If there is no other evidence of cheating, then don't bother. Why else does your woman go to physicians and gynecologists? Here's another story for you. A woman started going to physicians, and then for over a month she kept saying she was unwell, had a cold, and so on. But the man accidentally discovered that she had an abortion, and the abortion wasn't from him because he was on a business trip at the time that it happened. After an abortion, no matter the kind, there will be blood discharge. Everything will get better there. There may be probable irritation, and the woman is prescribed medications. Pay close attention to this. She might be taking antibiotics or even receiving hormonal treatments. Of course, doctors recommend sexual rest for 2 weeks or longer, so anything can happen in life. I pray nothing like this happens to you, and I wish you a life without infidelity.